I don't usually write long posts, but I've been carrying this around for a while, and I feel like I need to get it out. If it helps even one person stuck under a toxic boss or trapped in a situation that feels impossible, then it's worth the time. This is the story of how I outsmarted my corrupt boss and triggered a $2.4 million penalty against him and his company. I had been working at this mid-sized firm for over a decade. I started young, worked my way up, and eventually became one of the most trusted people in my department. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't political, and I wasn't climbing the ladder in the traditional sense. But I was reliable, and people knew I could be counted on to get the work done. Then a new CEO came in. Let's call him Jared. Jared had a polished resume that looked good on paper, but anyone with real experience could see the red flags. He was one of those guys who spoke in buzzwords, bragged about turnarounds, and carried himself like he was the smartest person in any room. The kind of guy who treated people as disposable as long as the numbers looked good at the next board meeting. From the moment he arrived, he zeroed in on me. Maybe because I had influence with the team, maybe because I'd been around long enough to know when something smelled off. He didn't like that. He wanted yes men, not people who actually thought about long-term consequences. The first big clash happened at a company-wide meeting. He stood in front of everyone and announced sweeping changes to cut costs. I raised one question about compliance issues. Just one. Instead of answering professionally, he turned it into a show. He mocked my question, called it old world thinking, and basically humiliated me in front of the entire staff. People laughed nervously. I felt like my 14 years of hard work had just been shoved into the trash. From there, it only got worse. Jared started finding petty reasons to chip away at me. He reassigned projects I had been leading, cut me out of meetings I'd always been part of, and even moved my desk closer to the floor-level cubicles. He said it was about team visibility, but everyone knew it was punishment. The breaking point came when I stumbled across documents that flat out proved the company was cooking the books. It wasn't a small mistake either. They were hiding liabilities, misreporting revenue, and violating contracts with partners. The kind of stuff that, if discovered, would not only destroy the company's reputation but also lead to massive fines. I confronted Jared privately. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd realize how dangerous this was. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, smiled, and said, "This is how business is done. If you can't handle it, maybe you're not cut out for leadership." Then he told me to get back in line. That night I barely slept. I thought about quitting. I thought about just walking away and letting it all collapse. But I couldn't. I had given too much of myself to that place, and I knew too many innocent people would get crushed if Jared's schemes went unchecked. So I came up with a plan. Over the next several months, I quietly documented everything. Every shady transaction, every forged signature, every hidden liability. I saved emails, downloaded spreadsheets, even took photos of documents when no one was looking. I became almost invisible at work, blending in, nodding along, while building a case that could not be ignored. The opportunity came when one of our major partners scheduled an audit. Jared was overconfident, convinced he had covered his tracks. He bragged in the break room about how he could outsmart the pencil pushers without breaking a sweat. I smiled and pretended to agree, but inside, I knew this was my moment. When the auditors arrived, I quietly passed along the files. I didn't do it dramatically. No whistleblower speeches, no grand gestures. Just a simple, anonymous drop. Within a week, everything started to unravel. The auditors found glaring discrepancies. Partners started asking tough questions. Lawyers got involved. The penalty, when it was all said and done, was $2.4 million. It hit the company like a truck. Jared was suddenly very quiet in meetings. Then he stopped showing up altogether. Within a month, he was resigned. Everyone knew what that meant. For me, it was bittersweet. I didn't gloat. I didn't tell anyone what I had done. I just kept doing my job while the storm raged around me. A few close colleagues suspected, but no one said a word. Eventually, the board cleaned house, and the company started fresh. I was offered a promotion, which I declined. I didn't want to lead anymore. I just wanted peace. A few years later, I moved on to a different company where I feel valued and respected. Looking back, I don't feel like a hero. I don't even feel proud, exactly. What I feel is relief. Relief that I trusted my instincts, that I didn't let a bully completely destroy me, and that I found a way to fight back without losing my integrity. Sometimes I think about Jared. Last I heard, he was trying to start a consulting firm, but word gets around. People know what he did. I doubt he'll ever land another serious leadership role. As for me, I learned something important. Toxic people rise fast because they cut corners, but when they fall hard. And if you're patient, careful, and willing to play the long game, you can outsmart them. I don't know if this story will resonate with anyone, but if you're in a similar spot, don't give up hope. Document everything. Stay calm. Remember that time has a way of exposing the truth. And sometimes, justice comes not with a bang, but with a quiet folder of files handed over at exactly the right moment.